Okay, Morena, thank you for joining me. So what are we talking about really? So cleaner space, right? So the number of space debris is increasing actually around Earth. And some experts are seeing that there is a saturation of the most commonly used orbits. So are you afraid actually that satellites made by Thales, Alenia Space, will actually undergo destruction due to space orbits?
Yes, it is a risk. This risk is still rather low because actually there are few number of satellites that have suffered the damages from space debris, but the risk is growing. And also we need to cite out the fact that only one collision in space will bring to a chain collision effect. So it actually, yes, the risk is very high.
So this risk is, will tend to grow in the future if we don't do anything about it. So the development of mega constellations of thousands of satellites. We've read about it, we've heard about it. So what can you tell us?
I can only say yes, it's growing actually, because when you have a larger number of satellites in space, you also have higher collision probability risk. So actually the mega constellations are making this risk growing, so yes.
So what are you doing to reduce those risks? You're working on that, right?
Yes, we do. There are a lot of activities ongoing in order to reduce that risk, especially we are trying to go on the services in space, and this kind of operations mainly are targeting the big debris. Also, we are targeting the deorbiting of debris. Actually, all our satellites today are built in order to be deorbit. What's the orbit mean? Basically mean to leave the operational orbital position by either reaching higher orbits called the graveyard orbit. This is for the geostationary satellites which are very far from the Earth, or to re-enter the atmosphere. Okay. So we have these two options.
That's kind of scary, re-entry of satellites in the atmosphere. Does it mean that we should be scared about being hit on the head, you know?
You should. You should. It could happen. Actually, it already happened also during the launches operation. When you launch a satellite, some pieces come off the launch structures and they fell down in the Earth. Exactly the same can happen with a satellite which re-entry the atmosphere because it could not totally burn. The good news is that today the satellites are built in order to completely burn when they re-enter the atmosphere or to fall in totally empty areas.
You mean disintegrate completely?
Yes.
Okay, so part of if you're talking about satellites, part of it burning in the atmosphere actually. We should not be scared. I don't have any sound here. I don't know. Yeah? So should we be actually scared about, environmental issues? We're talking a lot about sustainability. So could you expand on that?
Yes. To be honest, the real impact of a satellite on the environment is actually its launch, because the solid propulsion that the launchers need in order to escape the gravity force and reach the orbit has the greatest impact on the environment. Today, the satellites are built with electric propulsion system. Those kind of systems allow to have lower mass to be launched from the Earth. It is one of the solutions, but also we are paving the way to a totally disruptive use of space thanks to the in-orbit servicing. If we can act on a satellite which is already in orbit, we can drastically reduce the impact on the environment.
So what are you doing, in the field of in-orbit services? Could you just tell us a little bit more?
Yes. Well, in-orbit servicing cover a very wide range of operations. I can just mention some of them. The orbiting, as we said, this allowed the satellite operator to really exploit the satellite till the end of its lifetime. And then we make this satellite re-enter in a safe way. Another function is life extension. So we actually can make the satellite to work longer time, either by refueling the satellite or with some dedicated modules. The same way we can operate on the satellite by repairing the satellite, and particularly important is the fact that we can add functionalities on the satellite. So, for example, new instruments in order to enhance the satellite mission.
So a cleaner space is a key priority for Thales Alenia.
It is.
Right, and could you probably tell us why this hasn't been done yet? Actually, it's not a new problem. It existed since a while.
Yes, that's true. But in-orbit servicing is a use of a lot of technology at the same time. And some of those technology has been tested and realized during the last years. Others are prototyped on ground, and others simply don't exist yet, like the refueling. But we are on our way to prepare the second generation of services. And today also the digitalization is helping us very much because we can miniaturize sensors and processing in order to make those operations affordable. Let's say that we are using our innovation skills in order to provide highly performing infrastructure for a safe, greener, if we can, and sustainable space.
All right, Morena, thank you for sharing.